One of the most prominent homeland and national security threats facing the department and many of you today is the threat to our nation resulting from the lawlessness at our borders and a lack of respect for our immigration laws. Make no mistake, our border is in crisis. We might not be seeing the numbers that we saw at the height of 2014, but we're seeing increase in drugs, increase in traffickers, increase in smuggling, increase of terrorist awareness of the loopholes that allow those to enter illegally and stay within our communities. We also see thousands of people who have no respect for our laws, and we see our inability, once we apprehend them, to detain them and deport them. As I mentioned last month in Douglas, Arizona, I had the opportunity to meet with a group of sheriffs whose communities are often on these front lines as smugglers, traffickers, and transnational criminal organizations take advantage of our unsecure border. From rescuing illegal immigrants in the desert to uncovering them in packed and overheated trailers, law enforcement bears witness to the effects of our most vulnerable, our children. And the gang violence and recruitment of children is not limited to illegal alien children. During my visit last month, the sheriff shared with me a picture, a horrific one, of a 14-year-old boy, an American citizen, who was recruited by a Mexican drug cartel to smuggle drugs. That kid, unfortunately, way in over his head, lost his load of drugs. In retaliation, he was repeatedly stunned with a taser and savagely beaten with a board. The picture, to say the least, was difficult to look at. These cartels are infiltrating our communities, corrupting children, and hurting our citizens. Make no mistake, they are not humanitarians. They prioritize profit over human life. Our challenge moving forward as a community is to identify what we can do to address these complex problems together. The men and women who have sworn to protect our communities have expressed their frustration with previous administrations failing to act. We need to be clear. Illegal actions have and must have consequences. No more free passes, no more get-out-of-jail-free cards, no more lawlessness. Today, DHS is referring those who illegally cross our borders to the Department of Justice for prosecution. It is important to note that every day in communities across the country, if you commit a crime, the police will take you to jail, regardless of whether you have a family. I want to take a minute to address the consequences of actually enforcing our immigration law. There has been much outcry, consternation, and frankly, misinformation from many in the press, in Congress, and advocacy groups over the last few weeks that we at DHS are intentionally doing things that are unhumanitarian, that are cruel, immoral, and disgraceful. We are doing none of those things. We are enforcing the laws passed by Congress, and we are doing all that we can in the executive branch to protect our communities. It is now time that Congress asks to fix our broken immigration system. DHS and you on the border and in your communities around the country are faced with the reality not of our making. We cannot detain children with their parents, so we must either release both the parents and the children. This is the historic get-out-of-jail-free practice of the previous administration, or the adult and the minor will be separated as a result of prosecuting the adult. Those are the only two options. Surely it is the beginning of the unraveling of democracy when the body who makes the laws, rather than changing them, asks the body who enforces the laws not to enforce the laws. That cannot be the answer. It is important to note that these minors are very well taken care of. Don't believe the press. They are very well taken care of. You know this, as many of you have detention facilities of your own. We operate according to some of the highest standards in the country. We provide food, medical, education, and all needs that the child requests. Let's be honest, there are some who would like us to look the other way when dealing with families at the border and not enforce the law passed by Congress, including, unfortunately, some members of Congress. Past administrations may have done so, but we will not. We do not have the luxury of pretending that all individuals coming to this country as a family unit are in fact a family. We have to do our job. We will not apologize for doing for our job. We have sworn to do this job. This administration has a simple message. If you cross the border illegally, we will prosecute you. If you make a false immigration claim, we will prosecute you. If you smuggle illegal aliens across an extraordinarily dangerous journey, we will prosecute you. But I have also made clear you do not need to break the law of this country by entering illegally to claim asylum. If you are seeking asylum, go to a port of entry. First, under existing law, certain unaccompanied alien children from Mexico and Canada who enter illegally and have no valid claim to stay can be quickly returned home, but unaccompanied children from every other country in the world must be transferred to the Department of Health and Human Services within 72 hours and then released to parents or guardians within the United States. This is a significant pull factor that encourages these children to make the dangerous journey north. And it also belies the fairness of the system. We should be treating those from countries the same. Why is our system built on treating people from Mexico and Canada different than any other country coming to the United States for various reasons? Additionally, when a child is apprehended with their parents, DHS is required, due to various court rulings, to release the child within 20 days. As I mentioned earlier, this get-out-of-jail-free card for families and groups who pose at families has spread. The word of this has spread. The smugglers and traffickers know these loopholes better than our members of Congress. I am sad to say that from October 2017 to this February, we have seen a staggering 315% increase in illegal aliens fraudulently using children to pose as family units to gain entry into this country. This must stop. All this does is put the children at risk.